All right, it looks like we are live. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We're just going to hang out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We're just going to be hanging out for a while. If you are on the replay, feel free to skip ahead a few minutes because we will be waiting for a few people to join. But today, we'll just get started with what I was doing today. Basically, today, I spent some time recording a YouTube video. It's about storefront stalking and how a lot of people do it the wrong way. Basically, people are they aren't like specific enough with what they're wanting out of a storefront stock. People just say, I need to have a profitable item to look for with a storefront stock. And it's much better to like be storefront stocking from a store that's actually doing the same thing that you're wanting to do. That way you find those types of products. So it's much better to storefront stock that way. I'm going to adjust my camera. Yep, so I made that YouTube video. We also spent some time. I have a bunch of removal orders in the basement. I basically am changing the way that I'm doing my selling. As you guys may or may not know, a big part of my business is selling used items. And so for quite a while, I was selling used items that didn't have cords, and cords are necessary for like the use of the item. So customers would get the item and they'd end up being pretty frustrated because, you know, if you get like a docking station or something that doesn't have the cord and it doesn't work, you sometimes get mad as a customer, and that sometimes causes account health issues. So before Q4, I'm looking to try and correct all those issues. So I had a bunch of stuff removal ordered. I'm going to be buying the cords and then sending them back in and liquidating the stuff that doesn't work well. So yeah, I've been adjusting and organizing all that in the basement. Bunch of fun. I love listing, but it's the thing that needs to happen in order to make things consistent. I'm going to go ahead and let Instagram know that we are live. So if I'm pointing a phone at the screen, that would be why. If you can even see it, or I'll make it so that you can't see it. All right, there we go. Oh, we got Josiah here. What's up, Josiah?
Yo, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Good to see you.
Likewise.
What have you been up to today? See you, Christiana. Bye. Love you.
Love you.
What's up? Hey,
Hey.
Christiana.
Good to see you, Josiah.
You too.
How are you doing?
Excellent.
Excellent. Alaska's treating you well?
Quite well. Yeah,
Quite well.
Turo's
I imagine.
treating them great.
Turo's treating you great.
The tourist money is treating me good.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, come spend some money in our economy.
Exactly.
All
right, see ya.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Yeah, you've been working on that today or Amazon stuff?
Little of both. Some days I don't really do much in the morning. I'm not a morning person, so I honestly haven't done too much work today yet. It's 2 o'clock. I'll probably do a little today. I have been, my wife Kelly and I, we have been the past week or so working on some ways to do the Turo stuff better. So last night we did a bunch of repricing, and we got a guy from our church is now doing the cleanings for us. So we got that set up in the last week or two. And so we've been working a lot on how to communicate with him, how to make that process really smooth, because he's got to send photos to us. And he's got to do the cleaning. We're providing all the equipment for him. So last night I put in an order for a couple $100 more of like batteries for our battery powered shop vac. So we've been messing around with that. I'm curious, actually. Let me ask you this: with your VA, how do you communicate with her and send her new tasks? Do you just text her, or do you use something fancy?
Yeah, I just send her an email.
Okay.
And if I'm really on top of it, I'll like write out a list of tasks for her to do that whole week, like day by day. But that rarely happens. It's more so like a day by day thing. I'm like, oh, well, I would love to have some new items found by tomorrow morning, or like, if you could reprice for me, that would be great. She's been doing repricing recently. Well, how do you go about that?
For my VA, I think I'm a lot more hands off compared to you. I should talk to her more often, but I've gone like multiple week stretches where I haven't even messaged her, which it's probably not the best method, but she keeps going. And so I set her up when I started, like, this is what I want you to do every week. And then I communicate with her primarily through, WhatsApp.
Yeah, I've heard WhatsApp is really big there.
Yeah, basically like texting with international numbers. That's the best way to do that. And then I have been, when I have new things that I want her to do, the way I like train her is I make those videos through, what's it called? Loom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've tried that one, but it's really easy to like screen record and do a voiceover, and you can even like overlay your webcam view, and that works pretty well. And then just recently I've only video chatted with her twice, and she's been working for me for like probably almost 4 months now. I just chatted with her last week. Yeah, last week. And kind of restructured the way I want her to do things. So I gave her kind of like 5 or 6 tasks, and I just have her doing those on a weekly basis.
And you have her do to answer, I don't know how to say your name, 𝗦cie, welcome, good to see you. Yeah, we do online arbitrage. So she's like the main task that she does for you is sourcing, right? Like finding new leads. Is that the biggest thing?
That's the biggest thing. I just restructured a little bit. I had her starting with just manual sourcing, however she wanted to do.
Yeah.
do it. So mostly bigger retail websites, things like that. She was doing
Yeah.
a lot of storefront stalking, reverse searching those. And now I have her doing kind of 5 different things that are all variations of OA stuff. She's on a weekly basis reviewing my replenishables list to update quantities, so I can just go in and be like, oh, this line is red, I need to order a few more. I think
Oh,
that's
so you ended up I know you were talking about finding a system to like see how much you have in stock / like on the way to Amazon. So that's like running smoother now.
yeah, I've had her working on that for a couple weeks now, and I think it's working pretty good. Basically, I have her update the numbers on a weekly basis of how many I currently have in stock, how many are inbound to the warehouse, and how many are on order, like headed to the prep center.
Yeah.
And then I kind of compare that number to the number of sales I had in the last 30 days. And then I'm like, well, I sold 50 in the last 30 days, and I only have 25 on hand between being shipped to Amazon and stuff. So I should probably order another 30 something.
This is a good question. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have her doing that, and then I've been feeding her for manual sourcing. I've had better success when I give her a specific store to manual source, whether it's reverse searching an Amazon store or a specific website or something like that. So doing a little bit more of that than the kind of free-for-all manual sourcing that she started with.
Yeah, sometimes my email that I send to her, I'm like check this brand or like search this storefront. That's been really fruitful in the past when I try it that way. Like the little bit of direction instead of like me or you spending 2 hours looking into it, just like have them take a look at it, like a really detailed look at it.
Yeah.
This is a good question though. After how much revenue should I be looking for a VA? I don't know if it's a revenue number. It's kind of, it matters like what type of business you're trying to run, I guess. Because you could be really, really like lean about it and just be like, yeah, it's not worth it for me to pay for any kind of help. Or you could say like, I really want to save as much time as possible and do it before it even makes like financial sense. What do you think, Josiah?
I think there's 2 ways to look at it outside of the financial perspective. I'm assuming you're already doing OA, Arsalan. Is that correct? Or are you looking to switch to OA? That's one question there. If you're switching from like RA to OA, I think you need deeper pockets capital-wise because of the increased turnover. It's going to take longer to get that ROI just because of the extra shipping time in there. Now with a VA, there are services that will train the VA for you. Can't vouch for any of those. They might be worthwhile. But if you're just looking to hire someone that maybe has some experience with OA sourcing, or you're looking to train someone, I think you need to be pretty comfortable with your business model within OA. What you gotta have processes set up and understand how to source OA stuff personally before you hire someone, because I think you're gonna have trouble giving them feedback or reviewing their work if you don't understand that space well enough yourself.
What's up, Ethan? Welcome. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's a great point. Like, it's hard to train someone in something that you haven't done, but it sounds like you're doing OA, which is cool. So if you're comfortable with that process, having a VA is almost like multiplying out your own efforts. So if your own efforts are just banging your head against a wall and spending 4 hours finding nothing, they also might not find that much. And if you're good and you give them like good direction, kind of like what we were saying before, like search the storefront, look for this type of thing, use this type of method, like it might multiply out your efforts a ton.
Yeah, maybe another question is, what do you have more of, time or money? If you're more limited by time, then it might be time to get a VA. If you're more limited by money, but you have the time, maybe you should continue doing it all yourself until you have a bigger pocket of cash.
Clip that for some content.
Yeah.
That was said well. I like that.
Oh, thank you. I made it up.
Exactly. That's how it always goes. How can I find more products to sell? Whatever I buy usually starts to price tank after a while. Yeah, that's a big problem. Number one, that often happens with leads list type items, and also for regular online arbitrage type stuff. If it's like a 50, 60, 70% ROI thing to start out with, it may just not stay that high ROI and might tank to like 20, 30%. And that's pretty natural sometimes.
One thing I've had with that is recently I've had a couple products that ended up price tanking, and I went a little too deep on them and ended up getting into a little trouble. But I think the big thing to look at is on 𝗬𝗂, the number of sellers. If the number of sellers all of a sudden doubles or starts, going up pretty steady, it's gonna price tank soon, probably.
Yeah, I've heard it said this way, like to add on to that. So dealing with price tanking starts before you buy the item, because like Josiah is saying, if there's if you're looking at the 𝗬𝗂 and you see that in the past, its lowest price was at a point where there was just a ton of sellers on the listing, and now there's an inflated price, but there's also that same amount of sellers on the listing as in the past when it was that low price, that means that it's probably going to come down and probably going to be a lower price pretty soon here. Because like the 𝗬𝗂 is giving historical like snapshots of how when there's this many sellers on the listing, the price is a little bit lower. So buying at that inflated sale price, you might just need to expect that the price is going to come down to what it was before.
And I've had some ASINs that end up price tanking, and I've been able to wait them out, and the price comes back up close to what it used to be. And sometimes it never does. I don't know what the difference is between those. I think a lot of it probably comes down to the source that everyone's getting it from. If that source looks like they have limited supply and they'll eventually run out, then you can wait them out. Say it's a special sale. You pick up a bunch of Xboxes from a Black Friday sale, and all of a sudden the price tanks because everybody else picked it up. Do you think the retail price for those Xboxes will go back up to MSRP? If so, there's limited supply for your competition, and the price likely will come back up at some point. But if the new Xbox came out and that old Xbox version dropped by $100 retail and probably will only continue to drop retail price wise, it's going to keep tanking.
Harold says, good evening. Do you see any huge risks starting with OA and skipping RA? What will I lack by not experiencing RA? So there's two things. Number one, you're going to miss out on all of the driving time, which most people would see as a positive. But more seriously,
save that gas money.
Saving that gas money. We can talk about gas prices later, but yeah, it's a smaller learning curve doing RA, I would say, because with RA, you get the more of the opportunities to be selling those 80-90% ROI items, sometimes even more than that. If you're doing books, it'll be 100,000,000% ROI, but like ridiculousness. But if it's just like regular Walmart RA and stuff, there's just a lot of chances to have a bigger like margin there. And so it's just easier to like learn and like make some mistakes and stuff. And with online arbitrage, like the margins are smaller most of the time. But like I know 𝗦cie and I probably agree that we both did RA in some form or another too long. So online arbitrage is much easier to like make more money with because you're using money as your vehicle to make more money instead of like your time, because you can only hit so many Walmarts in an hour or as many thrift stores in an hour, but you can purchase a lot of stuff in an hour once you know what you're doing. Any thoughts, 𝗦cie?
I agree with what you said. I think if you're comfortable with the Amazon selling platform and how it works, you could jump straight to OA. If you're uneasy and worried about making mistakes, give RA a try, because the mistakes you make doing RA are going to be less detrimental capital-wise in general, because it's more one-offs. If you're doing, say, Walmart clearance, you're not going to be able to buy 200 units and then the price tanks and you have 200 units of a crap product. If you go OA, it's easy to find yourself in a sticky spot by buying too much. And then it goes back to, again, do you have more time or more capital? When I started looking at transitioning to OA, it was when I got to the point where I had more capital than I could spend doing RA, because I was limited by the number of stores in my area, and I just didn't have the time to hit all those stores anymore. I was running out of time. I couldn't do it. And so I had to find a way to scale. The way to scale was to find products I could buy more than one of at a time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. If you're just starting out, like it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to go to a few Walmart clearances and just like scan some stuff and send some stuff in and see like, wow, when I send stuff in, it sells, and like the stuff that doesn't sell, like it's just going to take a little bit longer, and you'll get the experience for some things move extremely quickly and some things take a few months. But if you don't have that experience of knowing how fast things sell and you suddenly drop like $3,000 on OA and like your stuff isn't moving as fast as you thought, like you're probably going to panic a little bit. So I'd practice spending some money on some profitable stuff first. And I don't know how far you are into this, but.
And I still enjoy doing RA. I have a hard time anytime I go to Walmart for, say, groceries, or the other, I got Fred Meyer's in my area. I have a hard time not hitting the toy section to look for that bolo that used to be hot a year ago. Or I have a hard time not browsing the clearance aisle or checking out the electronics at Walmart to see if they've got the $500 laptop marked down to $100.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some great ROI stuff there, and it's the thrill of the hunt, RA-wise, is a lot more exciting.
I had to go to the Goodwill Outlet World the other day because I just needed some of the thrill of the hunt. I needed that. Ethan says, how do you guys go about listings that are selling a product that's different from the brand that's on the listing? Stay away. I need to just read that again. And 𝗬𝗏, we'll get to that in a second. How do you guys go about listings that are selling a different product that's different from the brand? So you're saying like the picture is different? I'm not sure what you mean. If you want to rephrase that will try and answer it. But most of the time when I'm looking at listings, it matches. Maybe, yeah, I'm not quite sure. But softwares for online arbitrage, I think we both agree that 𝗬𝗑𝗏 is a must. If you're spending money and not willing to put down $20 a month for a 𝗬𝗑𝗏 subscription. 𝗬𝗑𝗏 is basically like giving you the eyes to see what's happened in the last year and like what will probably happen in the next several months.
That's a huge mistake I made. I didn't get 𝗬𝗑𝗏 until I think this year. So I sold like, I don't know, 400 or 500 grand worth of stuff without 𝗬𝗑𝗏. It's a miracle. I think was a little bit too cheap. I was like, nah, I'm doing all right without that software. That's just one more expense. And it would have saved me some big mistakes I made along the way. I was using a Helium 10 plugin, and it showed a few things that were really helpful. It would show the sales rank over time and the price over time.
Oh,
that's it.
That's at least helpful. That's
yeah,
better than just rank.
Yeah, I was using that to kind of see, how many drops per month, and it's not nearly as accurate as 𝗬𝗑𝗏. It's a free little extension, but if you really, really can't afford the $20 𝗬𝗑𝗏, you could check that out. But 𝗬𝗑𝗏's worth it.
I would say like to get started, 𝗬𝗑𝗏 and Inventory Lab, I'd suggest, and then potentially SellerAmp. It's because if you're not using SellerAmp or Reseller, basically something that's going to tell you the fees and everything. Like you have to know the fees. So otherwise you're just going to be pulling it up on your phone on the Seller app all the time. And that just takes a long time. I think SellerAmp it's around $20 a month as well. You got to be entering the fees on every purchase just to see. You can't just say, oh, it sells for 19 and I can get it for 10. This is profitable. No, because there are fees. So you should always enter in your buy cost, your fees, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely. And same thing with that one. I got Reseller sometime this year. I was using a free Helium 10 thing to calculate the numbers, and that worked okay. But Reseller is definitely better. I'm sure. What's the other one?
SellerAmp.
SellerAmp. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't want to spend money, like those are some free tools that 𝗖cie used. He sold like 400K in sales without it. Like it works. Like he was able to mitigate a lot of the mistakes. Like I'm sure you made plenty of mistakes, but like you did good and great with it, and we're providing full-time income for you and your family with it. So
yeah. Now, if you're gonna do retail arbitrage, Inventory Lab comes with, what's that app called? 𝗬𝗏𝗏 2. That's a great one for retail arbitrage. This one here, and that's really good for way better than. I got logged out. Way better than using Seller Central when you're in the store. Easier to scan products and easier to quickly calculate the numbers.
The first time I did retail arbitrage, I was coming from doing like 8 months of books, and I brought my Bluetooth scanner into Walmart, and I thought I was just gonna like scan all the barcodes just like that, like 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Dude,
it was like very soon I'm like, I don't need this scanner at all.
No,
I'm doing this wrong.
That's funny.
Ethan says, when the store hosting the listing is not the same brand as the product being sold. Oh, so like an Amazon seller basically made the listing, right? I think that's what you're asking. If that's the case, that actually is a green flag in my head. Because if the store, let's say we're looking at a supplement brand or something and we can get them from wherever, but the supplement brand made the listing, and like the supplement brand is on the listing, that's sometimes a red flag combined with some other things for IP complaints. But if you see that a random Amazon seller made the listing, it's like the brand hasn't like claimed that territory in the same way. Like they can still be on the listing and give you IP complaints if they want to, but it's just less of a red flag, I think. Let me know if that answered your question. Arslan says, what do you think about leads lists? Not my favorite. I think they end up getting, they need to like be capped, but even when they're capped, sometimes they end up being capped and then like you don't know, but they're actually being sold to another 4 capped groups. And it's so so like you're in your 25 person capped group and like you don't even realize that they're selling it to like 3 other capped groups, like the same leads, or like they're releasing them like the same leads 2 weeks later or something like that. It's basically just like I just don't like leads lists very much. It just feels like kind of bottom of the barrel stuff. Usually, not always, but like the sooner you can find your own leads, the better. But I mean, Tycoon doesn't agree. And I mean, you can also do leads list in a better way too, which is like differentiating yourself. I'm not saying that right, but like looking for the black shoe instead of the white shoe, or like a different size or a different ounce, or like storefront stocking the people on the listing. Yeah.
There's, yeah, like Seth said, there's leads lists that are going to saturate all the products. And so you got to look at, is the source you're getting the leads list from reputable? Or are they just trying to make a quick buck on their not so great ROI products that their VA found for them? And yeah, how many people is it going to? I've had mixed success with leads lists, and I haven't put a whole lot of effort into them.
Yeah, I would honestly say like these are my reflex thoughts. It's definitely not the way that I source. And I just hear a ton of people sourcing probably the wrong way from leads lists. Like there's so many people that say they buy from leads list and like all their stuff is tanking and they like break even, or they they just don't do as well. So yeah.
I've been in the leads lists I've been in have also been Discord groups. And so like a small portion of what I'm paying for is the leads list portion. The rest of that Discord group has been super, super beneficial. And when I have questions, I go ask them. They throw other tips out there, and I've learned a ton through that. So leads list wise, from the one group in particular, I've definitely made more money than what I paid for it. But the value in education that I've made from it has been huge. And if you're part of a leads list like that, where it's a Discord group, I can scroll back probably a year or 2 through all the leads that they posted. Go and look at the old ones, the ones that were posted a year ago. A bunch of them might be just not worthwhile, but there's probably a few gems in there that everybody forgot about. A bunch of people hopped on it real quick, the price tanked, they left, and now there's opportunity again for that same product. I've had a few products like that where I found, and they've become long-term replenishables through leads lists. So there definitely is opportunity there if you do it right and find a quality list.
And BOLO groups. I've never really been a part of a BOLO group. I mean, I guess they're kind of similar. When I think BOLO group, I think of like be on the lookout for these pools at Walmart or something like that. Which can be really valuable to like give you a direction to think about when you're doing your sourcing. So kind of depends on how you do it.
Yeah, go get some magic mixies and the other ones.
Some squishmallows.
I never got into those. Did you sell any squishmallows?
No, I was very much so into my used items at that point.
There's not a market for used squishmallows.
They're more valuable. It's creepy.
Okay.
Next. I'm doing 100K a month just sourcing from leads lists. Yeah, it's I've actually thought someone reached out to me a few months ago and wanted me to like buy for their Amazon account. I was like, do I just buy from a leads list and just send stuff in and see how it goes? But yeah, there's probably a proper way to do it and a proper way to have like a good leads list provider. Yeah, that'd be interesting to dive deep into that.
If you do want, definitely be aware of your numbers with it. If you're paying $50 a month, make sure you're making at least, you know, I don't know what you want to determine your numbers, but I would want to make at least $100 profit off of that $50 subscription for it to be worth my time. And yeah, that's one way to track whether or not that list is worth it, or the way you're using that list is worth it.
Yeah, I haven't done too many leads lists, but it does kind of give hope to the fact that there's a million different ways to find profitable products in a sustainable way. Because even this thing that Josiah and I aren't like the biggest fan of, like, looks like there are some people who are making good money off of them, besides just the leads list providers. Yeah, and there's like 10,000 other ways. I don't know if there's 10,000 other ways, but there's a lot of ways to find good leads. Yeah. If you guys have any last questions, we'll probably head off in a few minutes. And it's good talking to you guys. Tycoon is saying, just let the leads list tell you where they're sourcing from and what the brand on sale at the moment that you started from the rabbit trail is. It's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, I did a little bit of leads lists in I did a little leads list in the fall. And for me personally, finding and like making the matches between apparel listings, like the source and the ASIN, is like really difficult for me. But with the leads list providing the source and the ASIN, even if I'm looking for a different size shoe or like a different color shoe, that helped me a lot. So yeah, using a leads list to like find the source and give rabbit trails.
Yeah, rabbit trail. Yeah, I've found some good stuff doing that.
Do you live stream every day? So this week I'm going to be live streaming every day but Thursday and the weekend. So I'm going to be trying to be doing these really regularly. So it's cool that a lot of people showed up for this one. And it was super fun talking with Josiah. I always love talking with Josiah. We met in Miami a couple months ago, which was cool, at Miami 2022, if any of you guys have been there. But Jeff says, what's a rabbit trail? So it's like, I was going to say the backside to a rabbit, but that wasn't even funny.
Why am I laughing?
Just like like a rabbit trail could be like, ooh, Air Force Ones are cool. Let's look at all the Air Force Ones. Or like, ooh, like we found this like discontinued brand. Like maybe we should look more into the different model numbers of that brand. That would be a rabbit trail.
Or another way that I've had good success, look at the other sellers on that product.
Yeah.
Look at the ones that seem like they're also doing OA and then stock their entire storefront and steal their products and tank their listings.
And put it all in a wagon and burn all of it. Burn their house to the ground.
Oh, that was too far.
All right, guys, with that, we're going to end it. Have a
Oh,
good
my
one.
goodness.
Also, if you guys aren't following Bacon Beagle, how do you even spell your social media's name? If you want to
Bacon Bagel.
Bacon Bagel on Instagram. He always posts the best stories about what he's up to and like the types of things that he's sourcing and stuff. Definitely give him a follow. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. That means the world to me. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care.